Hey, it's Gary, and I got Tequila with us today. So, we're going to talk today about how to accelerate your learning. And not only accelerate your learning, but also you can apply these principles financially. I'm actually going to show with you in another video about how it's possible to make maybe $50,000 in a day, $100,000 in a day by basically using these principles. So when I was a kid, like 15 years old, I was in the jewelry business. I started a jewelry business, and I was obsessed about when I would repair a gold chain, it would take 5 minutes. Well, what about the possibilities of getting it done in 4 minutes with the same amount of quality? What about 3 minutes with the same amount of quality? Then I got so obsessed with changing behaviors and all this mental fun mind stuff, I came up with an idea as a pilot. What if I could teach with the right techniques a person who's never flown before, and I could show them in an hour or two how to land and take off an airplane entirely on their own with me at their right side, in the cockpit. So I actually did that. I created a process where I could take a person who's never flown before, and in usually less than 2 hours of flight time, I have them landing and taking off an airplane on their own. So I'm going to share with you an accelerated strategy. And though this has to do with aviation, the whole concept is if you take the principle of how can we do things faster and better with the same or more quality, it's incredible what accomplished. The first person that's probably recognized for doing this, I wouldn't say the first person, would be Henry Ford. He came up with an assembly line, and the assembly line changed everything and created production to a level that no one had ever seen before. So as you're listening to me today, I want you to be thinking about, are there processes or systems? And basically, it's like a process or a system. All successful companies have incredibly smooth processes and systems to get things done quicker, smoother, and also to eliminate some of the expenses. Anyway, so this is a cool process. And also, what's important, I think, is having the ability to teach effectively changes so much in a person's life with regards to how you attract people, what it does for you financially. We can go on and on. All right, so I'm going to give you a neat idea that I came up with years ago. Now, for some of you who don't know, well, you probably do know I'm obsessed with aviation, but I have been a flight instructor, I don't know, for 30 years or something like that. And I used to see something in aviation. I used to try to figure out how can I get people to learn something faster. So let me give you an example. So I'm going to draw out here. This is going to represent a runway. All right, so here's the runway. Now, in training, we obviously learn to land and take off the airplane. So we call this a pattern. A pattern is where you take off. It's pretty much a rectangular shape. You come around, come here, and then you land right there. Now, this landing part, this last 10 seconds, that's the part that's going to kill you. That's the part you need to learn to master, obviously. Now, what's interesting is it takes about 10 minutes to do this pattern. And it could be 5 minutes, 9 minutes. It just depends on how busy the traffic is in the area, how many airplanes are in the area. So let's just say 10 minutes as a number. So when you land the airplane and take off again, we call that a touch and go. So ultimately it takes 10 minutes, we'll say, to do this touch and go. So in an hour, how many touch and goes would we do? Well, there's 6 10-minute segments in an hour, so we would take 1 hour to do 6 touch and goes, okay? 1 hour to do 6 touch and goes. And I used to figure out, wait a minute, and I'm not, minimizing the skill of a pilot. I'm a pilot myself. But to take off an airplane, if you've never flown an airplane and you come in with a cockpit with me in a small airplane, I will let you take off the airplane. It is a no-brainer. It's not hard to do. So taking off the airplane, learning to turn it, come around in the pattern, that doesn't take a lot. But landing, that's the part that'll kill you, all right? So now here's what's interesting. I'm figuring out, wait a minute. We spend nearly 10 minutes in a pattern to learn to master nearly 10 seconds worth of landing. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's why in aviation they have what they call slow flight. They take you up, you go up to 2,000 feet and you pretend that you're going to be landing and the airplane's really slow. So you get the idea of what the airplane's like when it's getting slow and sluggish coming in for landing. Well, that's one technique that transfers down to the landing part. But I wanted to figure out, okay, how can we do this faster? So here's what I came up with. I figured out, all right, how about we do this? Once you have a student that's learning the skills now to land, instead of one touch and go in 10 minutes, how about we touch, come back up, land again, come back up, land again, and then do the pattern. Now when I say come back up, we're only talking about 50 feet, all right? But I'll assure you the skill that it takes to go up and down 3 times, but now watch this, is a good skill. Now we're doing how many touch and goes in a 10-minute segment? Now we're doing 3 touch and goes where before we did 1. So in 6 10-minute segments, we're now doing 18 touch and goes. 18 touch and goes. Whoa, that's a huge difference. Now we'll talk about why instructors don't do this. I know of no instructor that teaches something like this, and I'll share with you the psychological reasons why they don't. But first of all, let's analyze this now. I will assure you, if you take a student that has gone through some type of training like this and compare them to a student who gets the normal, regular, 1 touch and go every 10 minutes, 1 touch and go every 10 minutes, I will guarantee you beyond a shadow of a doubt that that student that's gone through a process like this is at least 3 times better and skilled than a pilot who does not know and do anything like this. And I know for a fact because I have students who are so well advanced because of these strategies and techniques that I use. Now, let's talk about psychologically, why do people not do this? In fact, this is so unusual and crazy, it kind of looks like you're drunk on the runway. It's like, what the heck is going on? It's so unusual that I actually call the tower up in advance and I tell them, hey, I'm going to be doing some touch and goes today. We're going to be asking for the option. The option means that you can do whatever you want. You can land, you can stop, you can land and take off. They give you the option. But because this is so unique, I want them to let them know that we really are in control. It just doesn't look like it. Now, if you're outside of the airport behind a fence over here and you're looking over, right? You're thinking, okay, what the heck is going on? Another reason why instructors don't do anything like this is it's so incredibly unconventional that it does look very odd, as if something is going on and instructors are really, really bad instructor because he can't teach a student how to stay on the runway and land, that they're too overly concerned about what other people think. I want you to think about how many things that you think you should be doing or not doing now that may be unconventional, not the norm, that because of doing something unconventional, you might be opening yourself up to criticism of friends and family. It has nothing to do with flying or anything. I'm just talking about life in general, making a shift in your life to get out of a toxic relationship or shift your business in such a way that it could open up more opportunities. It could be so many things that I believe that you're holding yourself back from because we're too overly concerned about what other people think. Now, this is more of an aviation thing. Another reason why instructors don't do this, 90% of instructors, they have one motive, and that's to get to the airlines. Just because somebody becomes an instructor, that does not mean they are a good teacher. So tons of people get their instructor's license on everything, like yoga, Pilates, airplanes, karate, whatever, and they suck at teaching. So most instructors, they don't care as much about the student as they should because their real motive is they want to build up as much flight time as possible. By the way, this shortens the flight time. They don't want that. They want a lot of flight time so they can get to the airlines right away. Anyway, just a little rant off subject. So now another video I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you the possibilities how you could not, and I want to say you, I'm not giving you a bunch of hype, but the possibilities how other people can do $1 million in a day. How is it that I can make maybe $10,000 in a day, $50,000 or $100,000 using concepts of how to make things done go faster? So if we can do this in something like aviation, what if you could apply this to your finances? That's coming up in the next video. I'm out of here. Hope you've enjoyed this. I'd love to see your comments below. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, we'd certainly appreciate it, due to the fact that I got hacked a couple of months ago, so we're trying to rebuild and start everything all over again. So we're out of here. Tequila, say bye. Tequila only knows how to whistle. Between now and the next time we get the chat, you know what to do. Master your skills of learning and teaching. Grow everything in your life to the highest level of you possibly can. And don't let anything or anyone rent space in your head. Have an awesome day. We'll see you.